What's going on, guys? It's your boy Scrub here, back again with another video. Hope you guys are having a great day. I know I am. And today, ladies and gentlemen, I've got a story time for y'all. I think you are going to enjoy about a Karen that lost it about the most ridiculous thing I've ever heard. But before we get into it, be sure to press the like button. Otherwise, no joke, no scam. You're going to get attacked by a Karen. And without further ado, let's go.
I'm getting quiet now. Lay low when you reach zone 5 now. Making out, stack the bread.
Alright guys, so the person who sent this to me, I guess, was working at a frozen yogurt store, and they said it was usually really busy when they first got the job in the summer, but at this point it's become really slow because they live in a place that has some pretty strong winters. And obviously, you know, whenever it's snowing outside, the last thing on people's mind can be frozen yogurt. So they had reduced their hours and they had like kind of cut back on the amount of workers that were there because it was just never really busy in the first place during the winter. Anyways, one day this lady comes in and is like, "Do you have frozen yogurt?" Keep in mind the name of this place literally has frozen yogurt in it. So, you know, the subscriber is like, "Yes, we do, ma'am. How can I help you?" And, you know, she starts being like, "Good, I'm gonna take a look around before I let you know what I need," you know? And he's like, "All right, whatever." And she starts to look around the restaurants. And one of the other things that, like, they had done earlier because of the winter season is they had only kept, like, the really popular flavors, you know, the kind of, like, less popular flavors that weren't selling as much. They just decided to not have in the winter because there wasn't enough people coming and getting it to make it worth it. So they had the really popular flavors, but about half the machines didn't have anything in them just because, you know, it was just not worth it to be ordering the supply. And she notices that half the machines are empty, and instead of like calmly asking what had happened or, you know, asking what the flavors were, she gets angry. "Why do you not have all your flavors ready? What is wrong with you? You have these machines here that are empty. You might as well just put a sign on the door that says false advertising if you're gonna have machines that look like they would have frozen yogurt but don't have frozen yogurt. I wouldn't even have walked in here if I knew half the machines were empty." And he's just kind of confused because he's never seen someone that mad at the machines being empty. It's not even like they have no frozen yogurt. They just don't have like banana flavor. You know what I mean? Like stuff like that. And so he tries to explain to her that, like, you know, the winter's not necessarily very busy at a frozen yogurt store. So in order to cut down on costs a little bit, his boss had decided to not stock all the unpopular flavors. Not that people didn't get them, it just like people weren't ordering them in the winter, you know, and he figures that makes sense because it tracks logically to me that like frozen yogurt is less popular when the entire world is frozen around you. And she apparently just disagrees with that. She's like, "That's the stupidest thing I've ever heard. Why would you not carry flavors in the winter? Everybody knows that frozen yogurt is like one of the most famous winter Christmas treats of all time." And I'll be honest, I've literally never heard that before. I've never heard somebody be like, "My favorite Christmas dessert is frozen yogurt." Maybe it was specific to her family, but like, is that a thing? I've never heard of ice cream being a Christmas thing. And neither had the person who sent this in to me, so they don't really know how to reply to that. Like, what am I supposed to say to somebody saying that ice cream's a winter snack? And so they're like, "Well, okay, either way, we're not very busy lately, so I guess a lot of people don't look at it as a winter snack." Which I feel like is a very respectful way of saying, if you look at it that way, that makes sense, but like, you know, not a lot of people do, so it doesn't make sense for us to carry all the flavors just for you. But she assumes that he was being sassy by saying that, and she's like, "Is that backtalk?" And obviously, it wasn't backtalk, so he's trying to nicely explain, you know, "No, obviously, I'm just saying that we're not very busy this time of the year. That's why we don't have the flavors. You said that it was stupid of us because it was a winter treat, and yet frozen yogurt's very popular in the winter, so I was just explaining that, like, I don't know where you're from or, you know, what frozen yogurt shops you're used to, but we're not very busy in the winter." And instead of just being like, "Oh, okay, miscommunication," she says, "You're lying to me. You're lying to me about how busy you are. Now I know you're lying because I know frozen yogurt places are always busy. Give me your boss's number now." And the worker is just confused, right? And so he's like, "Ma'am, are you sure that you want to call my boss? I think there's a misunderstanding." And she's like, "Give me the number to your boss now." And he doesn't really know what to do. She's not leaving, so he finally breaks down and is like, "All right, I'll hand over the number." And usually if there's a chain and they call the boss, like, they just sell out the employee pretty quick. But this was like a frozen yogurt stop that was owned by a family in town. It wasn't his only business. He was like a big businessman, but it was owned by a local guy, so that way his kids could have a job in high school. You know, he wasn't one of his kids, but like, it was one of the kids he had hired to work there. So he hands him the number and is like, all right, go ahead and call. And I think the Karen was expecting it to be a corporate number where she was just going to be able to bully whatever worker was on the other side. But she calls, and surprisingly he answers, and he's like, hello, how can I help you? And she just immediately starts screaming. She doesn't introduce herself. She doesn't say she's calling about the frozen yogurt shop. Why do you not have all your flavors of yogurt? Everyone knows that frozen yogurt is very important to have a mixture of flavors. And if you have half your machines empty, then I don't understand how you expect me to find this business reasonable. It's disgusting. Why are half your machines empty? And she had put him on speaker, I guess, to flex like what he was gonna say back to her. And he just kind of is like, well, I don't know what you're talking about, but it's not very busy this time of year, and those products add to our cost. So because it's not busy, we got rid of the products people don't order. And to me, that makes perfect sense, right? Like, I'm very much following the logic here. I understand why you would make that decision, obviously. That being said, dude, apparently the Karen just disagreed. Was like, no, I'm not tracking the logic here. I just want to know what happened to make this lady feel like frozen yogurt is like, it's so important to have 30 machines of flavors, one. And on top of that, how dare they not have all the flavors ready in the winter? Because everyone knows that frozen yogurt is especially important in the winter. I've literally never heard of that before anywhere, dude. Like, let me know in the comment section down below if I'm just stupid or if this lady is just making up winter traditions. All right, guys, I'm going to interrupt the video for just 1 second. On screen now is a gift card. For those of you that don't know, I give one of these away in every video, so subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss out on free money. And while I got your attention, press the like button or no joke, no scam, your mom's a hoe. And without further ado, let's get back to it. Anyways, she doubles down. She like, that makes no sense. And the owner just isn't the type of person to get like pushed around like that. So he just says, well, you know, I've done it this way for 20 years. I've always done this in the winter, and you're literally the first person to ever complain about it. So I don't know what to tell you. And she starts to say something about how, like, he was ruining Christmas by not having all the flavors or whatever. And instead of just letting himself get yelled at, he did what any one of us would want to do in that situation and, like, just hung up the phone. Because, you know, he's a grown man. He don't have to get yelled at like that. And she's like, did he just hang up on me? Did he just hang up on me? What? What? Let me speak to the manager. Get the manager now. I cannot believe that that person just hung up on me. You need to get me the manager instantly. And the worker is just kind of like, you know, standing there. So she tells him again, go get the manager. Are you stupid? Why are you just standing there? You know, you could have solved this by now. Go get your boss immediately. And he's kind of sitting there and he goes, ma'am, I don't think you understand. That person that you talked to on the phone wasn't corporate. Like, it wasn't somebody out of state. That was the owner. The manager isn't going to change anything because the owner just told you what he wants to do. Which to me is like obvious that the manager can't really overpower the owner. That's not the ranking system. If the owner said don't do anything about it, the manager really can't do anything about it. But whatever, the Karen can't seem to accept that, like, she has lost, right? If the owner of the place tells you you've lost, there really isn't much that she can do. But she doubles down. I said get me the manager this instant. Go get me the manager. And so he's like, all right. And he goes to the back and he's like, some lady is losing it right now. She's saying that we are basically ruining Christmas because we don't have all of our flavors ready, and that, you know, she wants us to do something about it. I don't know what she wants us to do. We don't have the flavors, but she insists on talking to you. And so the manager's like, all right. And so the manager comes out of the back room, and Karen takes her froyo that she has in her hands and just throws it at the manager. And his manager ducks, like she manages to dodge out of the way because she had just been in the back making ice cream. And Karen at that point just decides to run out of the store. Like, she literally said, go get the manager, just so when the manager came out, she could throw frozen yogurt at her, which has to be one of the pettiest dodgeball moves of all time. And she tries to make a quick getaway, right? Like lickety-split running out the door. The only problem is she's not agile at all. And she gets to like the pole door and she just pushes into it. So it doesn't go anywhere, and she just like slams into the door. And she bounces back and falls down, and everybody's like, what's going on? And she gets up and scrambles to like get out of the door as fast as possible. And the second attempt gets better. You know, it did take her 2 tries to outsmart the door, but she manages to do it. And she leaves. And as she's leaving, she's like, you guys better not call the cops. And like, obviously they weren't going to call the cops because like, what were they really gonna do? You just threw froyo at them and like said that it was against Christmas or whatever. And they decided that like there wasn't really much that they could do other than what they could do anyways, which was banning her. So they were like, if she comes back, just don't let her come in. And obviously they just accepted the fact that sometimes people are nuts. I don't know though, man. I love that she thought this was a felony. Like, she's running away and her first thought is like, I might get arrested for throwing frozen yogurt. Has she done this before? You know, is it a repeat offense? Has she spent time in the slammer for it a couple times? Seriously though, I have never heard of frozen yogurt being a winter treat. It just doesn't make sense to me. Even if it is a thing, it's just illogical. Why would I want to eat frozen things in the winter? That would just make me more cold. And like, on top of it, even if it is a winter thing, is it not good that it's open? Like, if I owned a froyo place in a place where winters are harsh, I'd probably close it. The fact they even stay open with half the flavors is a benefit, you know? And even then, if you love frozen yogurt, why attack the poor people that are just trying to give it to you, you know? Like, it's just some poor manager comes out from making frozen yogurt in the bag, just gets assaulted with a face full of dairy. No, thank you, man. Nobody deserves a face full of dairy, no matter how much you think that they're ruining Christmas, dude. Even the Grinch. Anyways, guys, I think that's going to do it for the video. Hopefully you enjoyed. If you did, I would really appreciate you taking a second to press the like button. Let me know in the comment section down below what you thought, and of course, subscribe if you're new and turn on notifications. If you really want to help me out, I'll put a link to the intro song down below, along with a link to my podcast, The Scuffed Cast, and of course, you could use code SCRUBBY at the G Fuel checkout. You get a discount on G Fuel. It helps me out. Literally, everybody is a winner. So like I said, code SCRUBBY. And yeah, other than that, 2 more things that I got to shout out real quickly. I did go ahead and put some of my story times up on Spotify, so that way you guys can listen to them offline without gameplay, whatever you prefer. So links in the description. Be sure to go check that out if you haven't already. And other than that, we've also got the Karen Christmas sweater, which might be the coolest merch to ever exist in the history of the planet. You should definitely check it out and get yours. I would appreciate it. And you know, it's almost the end of December, so go cop it. And yeah, on that note, guys, that's gonna do it for the video. Like I said, don't get anyone pregnant. If you do, make sure they're hot, and hopefully I will see you guys all tomorrow with another video. I'm out. Peace.